Welcome back, guys. We are back with part 2 of this video with my guest Vince DelMonte. Hey Vince, how's it going?
Hey Tim, thanks man for having me back.
We're just going to go ahead and just dive right into this video. And one of the questions I have is, what are some of the common myths that you see people believing when it comes to building muscle?
I think one would be keeping your reps too low. And then you need to keep your reps really low. You know, guys are still doing 5x5, you know, which is a great way to build up the nervous system to lift high loads, but it is not the fastest way to hypertrophy a muscle. So I think that's a big myth. Certainly has a role in an overall periodized program, but heavy loads by themselves is not the fastest way to hypertrophy a muscle. Another myth would be believing the whole bulking up nonsense, and that you know, you need to spend an excessive amount of time force feeding growth with an excessive amount of calories. And you know, there's a number of reasons why you don't want to do that. The main problem is that bulking up diet programs aren't going to produce any more muscle growth than ingesting an ideal amount of nutrients. So essentially, it's not possible to achieve more muscle growth just by overfeeding. Another thing is, a lot of people don't understand that excessive bulking up develops insulin resistance. Insulin resistance, which basically makes it harder to gain muscle in the long run. So what happens when you bulk up is that all the carbohydrates are going to go preferentially to your fat stores, not your muscle tissue. Another thing is that bulking up is going to make it harder for you to get leaner, because insulin resistance is very hard to reverse. So basically, the fatter you get, the harder it's going to become to get lean. All right, and there's so many other reasons. Yeah, so I could go on, but you know, the fatter you become as well, the more aromatase enzyme you create in your body, which converts testosterone to estrogen. So essentially, it's kind of like a form of self-castration, and you're gonna want to start, you know, you're gonna start wanting to go shopping more.
Yeah. I guess you could say there's definitely a strategic way to do that. I mean, I know what I've learned is this whole concept of cycling your diet seems to be a much better approach to the traditional bulking. Yeah,
I mean, my rules for bulking is you certainly need to be in a caloric excess, but I never suggest losing your 4-pack in the process.
Sure.
I also suggest that guys come down to 10% body fat before they start bulking. It's going to essentially, it's going to help you, a lower body fat percentage is going to help your body become better at nutrient partitioning. Okay? This is a very important concept, because basically individuals with lower body fat levels are going to be more effective at storing their ingested calories, their ingested nutrients in their muscle, as muscle tissue, as glycogen, as opposed to you know, people who are fatter who are trying to bulk up. It's going to be more likely that they move their nutrients into fat stores.
Okay.
So that's really important to understand. And I definitely believe in bulking up, but I don't recommend bulking up for any longer than 4 months. I believe that there's a lot of benefits to what we call cyclical bulking, which is where we alternate phases of overfeeding with phases of underfeeding. And there's a whole host of beneficial hormone things that happen with your thyroid to basically make you more efficient at building lean muscle tissue. So, you know, for most guys who are ultra skinny, I wouldn't have them go more than 4 months bulking up before they do a refeed. For guys that have more experience, we might cyclical bulk at different frequencies, and that's a whole separate topic. I mean, I recommend everything from 2 weeks of overfeeding, 1 week of underfeeding, to 4 months of overfeeding, to 2 weeks of underfeeding, and alternating.
Okay. My second question is, who was your most challenging client when you were training someone?
Oh man, people aren't going to like this answer. Probably vegetarians.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I just stopped working with them. I mean, this. I mean, you guys want me to be truthful? It just was a waste of my time.
Mm-hmm.
And I find, I mean, again, this is going to offend a few people and upset a few people, but from my experience, a lot of it was just in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had people who said they wouldn't eat meat, and then within about 6 to 12 weeks, I had them eating ribeyes.
Wow.
It was just a process of introducing certain foods. Always start off with shrimp. Shrimp was very easy for people to start consuming.
Mm-hmm.
Scallops, and then I had a whole progression of taking someone who didn't eat meat to eat meat.
Wow.
And, you know, I'll be honest, man. It was a lot. It was a lot of it was stuff in their head that they, you know, I found a lot of these vegetarians I worked with were just, you know. I don't want to, you know, go crazy on this topic, but I mean, try to educate them on. I mean, if you look back 4 million years, we clearly evolved eating meat.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason our brains are the size we are is because of the amount of meat that we consumed, and our, you know, everything, our entire body relies on it. So quality meat. We're talking about quality meat here. So, you know, they're not getting the amino acids they need, and there's a whole host of problems once you go vegan or vegetarian when it comes to building muscle. So, to be honest, man, I just straight up told people I don't work with vegans or vegetarians unless they're willing to work with me and willing to change. And for anybody who wants to read an incredible book that blows apart every single argument in favor of vegetarianism from every standpoint, read The Vegetarian Myth by Lyra Keith. Lierre, and her last name is Keith. You can YouTube her and start watching interviews with her. And she was a vegan for 20 years until she basically got to the point where she almost killed herself. And she realized that she needed to find an alternative solution because of the health problems she was running into. And I mean, she destroys every single argument for of veganism, vegetarianism, plant-based eating out of the water. And listen to her. Don't hate me. I'm just a messenger. But it's very, very convincing, very interesting. And you know, the problem with arguing with a vegetarian or a plant-based eater is you're not talking about the way they're eating. You know, usually the way they're eating now becomes their entire identity. It becomes who they are. So you're now no longer discussing just the nutrition topic. You're challenging their beliefs, their truths, and their values and everything. So I just basically made a rule that if the person wasn't willing to work to changing, then it just wasn't worth my time. It wasn't worth their time either. So I handed them off to other trainers in the gym.
Okay.
Yeah, so anyways, I apologize if that personally offended you, but I mean, I'm just sharing my experience.
Sure. Let me ask you this, Vince. What are some of the resources that you constantly refer to when you try to educate yourself on building muscle?
A lot of books, man. I've done these on my YouTube videos. Great book for anybody out there who really wants to understand the training process. Super Training. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Super Training by Mel Sif, PhD. Anything by Charles Poliquin, phenomenal, outstanding. Anything from Ian King. I've got so many books here. Anything from Dr. Jacob Wilson, abcbodybuilding.com, rts123.com. I'm probably forgetting a whole bunch of people. You know, can't give away all my secrets. I mean, those are some of the people that are really, you know, well known. And there's a lot of brilliant people out there. I mean, I like to learn from. I learn from everybody. To be honest, I keep what works and throw away what doesn't. So I never make anything mine until I actually have something to show for it with myself or my clients.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Vince. I know you probably get a lot of these questions on your fan page and on my fan page, but a lot of people are asking about what's the best supplement to take. And people, I think, are bombarded by the supplement companies, especially in some of these fitness magazines. And I just wanted to ask you personally, with your expertise, how important is taking supplements to your diet, to your training, to building muscle?
If you asked me this 10 years ago, I would have said supplements are useless, you don't need them. And that was based on my initial transformation and 10 years of long distance running where I never used any supplements. To be honest, I didn't even really know what they were. The whole first time I heard about supplements was at the University of Western through Dr. John Berardi. He was a professor of one of my exercise physiology classes. And I mean, I'd heard of a multivitamin, but I mean, I didn't even know what creatine was. Protein powder wasn't even really around then. It wasn't popularized the way it is today. And you know, I did my first physique transformation with literally 3 supplements, and I wasn't even probably taking good quality products at the time. So I guess I made my entire positioning online as an anti-supplement guy. And if you read all my marketing from 2006 for a few years, you'll hear me smash and hammer and talk about how supplement companies are the evil. I took a very extreme approach. You don't need supplements; they're useless, they're worthless. There's only like 1% and 1.01% work, and to a degree, there's a lot of crappy products and supplements and a lot of shady and sensational claims out there. But there's a lot of stuff out there that also will literally change your life. And if you come into my house now, you look in my supplement cupboards. I mean, a number of people watching here have probably seen my supplement cupboards. It looks like a store. People are probably wondering, why is he contradicting himself? I'm not. I've just evolved. I've learned over the years, and I'm not closed-minded. So as I've learned more about why the body stores fat in certain areas, a lot of it has to do with mineral, vitamin deficiencies, or not deficiencies, but hormonal things that hormones are not regulating optimally, which can be fixed with vitamins and minerals and herbs and a lot of cool things. So I'm a huge believer in supplementation now, and I believe it needs to be individualized. I get my blood work taken twice a year. My supplement recommendations really depends on the individual, depends on their training age, what their goal is, how much they want to put into it, how fast they want to achieve their goals, where they might be lacking. Maybe are they experiencing poor sleep? Are they experiencing poor recovery? Are they, what is the issue? So supplementation has to be addressed to your weakest link. Okay, so you need to personalize your supplementation on what area is holding you back, right?
Now, is there a way to find that out?
Absolutely. I mean, well, first off, just how do you feel? Are you crashing in the morning times? Are you getting stronger? Do you feel mentally focused? Are you alert? Are you recovering? Do you experience extended muscle soreness? Do you wake up throughout the middle of the night? Can you fall asleep quickly? And all these things, I mean, obviously we want to treat everything with our diet, but unfortunately what most people don't know is you're probably only getting 40% of the nutrients in your diet from whole foods because our soils are so depleted these days. So anybody who tells you that you can get all your vitamins and minerals from your food is completely out to lunch.
Yeah, I heard you say something about that, by the time food travels and you get it, that it's lost a lot of its nutrients already.
Typically, the food that we eat today is already 5 to 7 days old, and it's already traveled 2,000 to 2,500 miles. Yeah. Something like that. So we're not eating fresh food. We're eating foods. So ever since agricultural business, ever since geneticists wanted to increase yield with food and have been more concerned with creating food products, things that last long on the shelf, things that taste good immediately, that look good. Really, what these guys are concerned about is creating things to increase profit. They're not, the majority of stuff out there isn't even food anymore. So, it really depends on the quality. Where you're getting your food, the quantities you're eating, and I like to put supplements in 2 categories: staple supplements and situational supplements. And staple supplements for most people are going to be, vitamin D, fish oils, magnesium, vitamin C. I've got a whole list. There's 7 of them that most people would benefit from immediately. And, getting those things in place first and then kind of, looking more the situational supplements that are based on your personal goals, your deadline, your budget. And, truth be told, some people just have more disposable income than others and want to just throw as much as they want, as much as they can at their body, So it kind of gets fun. It kind of gets interesting. Some of it's placebo effect, but at the end of the day, if you're getting results, I know there's some things I've used that probably just got me placebo effect, but I'll take it.
It works.
I mean, that's just the situation I'm in. I'm not suggesting people go out and do that, but.
Yeah, well, I know there's one thing that's really big in the supplement industry. It's this whole thing, the pre-workout shakes and the drinks. Now, is there anything, Vince, that you've tried that seems to work for you?
Absolutely. I mean, the big thing with pre-workout is it's kind of most guys who experience an effect from a pre-workout is just because now they're drinking more water.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
And when their cells are hydrated, a hydrated cell is an anabolic cell. So most guys like, oh, this placebo or this pre-workout helped me. No, it's just because you had an extra 2 cups of water today.
Yeah.
That's one interesting thing. Another thing with placebos is it's usually caffeine. Now I challenge any guy. I think it's funny guys who need caffeine to get through a hypertrophy based workout. I believe that you should use caffeine. Now caffeine, don't get me wrong, is clearly a thermogenic aid. It's clearly going to help you burn more fat. But I prefer to use caffeine for my strength based workouts when I want to increase mental focus. I want to decrease reaction time. I want to increase the ability to lift more weight faster. So I preserve caffeine only for strength-based training, which would be working with loads of 6 or less, or reps of 6 or less.
Okay.
I try not to, rarely ever use caffeine for a hypertrophy-based workout. And I mean, if you need caffeine to get through 5 sets of 8 to 12, you've got bigger issues. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some great pre-workouts out there that will help you feel fuller and give you a kick and give you give you some energy. But I like to encourage people to look at individual ingredients and to kind of figure out, why is this ingredient going to help me? Do I need this ingredient? And the problem with pre-workouts typically is that you don't know what dosage you're getting. So I mean, I'm really big on optimizing dosages, and I found that the best dosages are ones that you'll never read anywhere because there just hasn't been studies done on them. And I find that when you go up on certain dosages, you start to really experience improvements quickly. And that's where being your own self-experiment is really, really important. So.
Okay. Now, is there any, let me see how to put this. What would you teach someone how to look for certain supplements that are right for them? Or, there's this whole thing about proprietary blends and things like that. Now, how would you teach someone to find the right supplement that has the right ingredients in it and that everything that's on that label you're going to get?
Yeah, I like to see it CGMP certified. So, it's been created, it's been made in a government regulated facility. It's met certain standards. I like to see when companies actually do research and upload the research to their websites on they test their batches and they show you if what is said on the bottle is actually in the bottle. So I mean, those are great things. I personally like to personalize my supplement stacks and individualize my dosages, which really results in taking a lot of pills and that. But to be honest, I don't care anymore. I think it just comes down to your goal. What's your goal? Why do you need this? And I recommend people experiment with new supplements like once every 3-4 weeks so they can kind of monitor the effect. They can kind of see, what am I experiencing? Some guys, they'll throw 12 things at their body and they don't know what's working.
Yeah. I know one thing a lot of people get caught up in is this whole, buying pre-workouts over and over and over. And I know for me personally, I've experienced that where it doesn't even do anything anymore. I feel like I'm just throwing my money away. I just keep, buying it over and over. And eventually you start to drain your adrenal glands. So what I've done now is that, whenever I've been on something, for a long period of time, what I'll do is I'll cycle off 3 or 4 weeks because, I mean, if you don't, it's just going to, empty your wallet and drain your adrenal glands. So
yeah, caffeine. You need to be careful with caffeine. I mean, yeah, like I said, I preserve it for just my strength-based workouts. I like to take supplements that increase blood flow for my hypertrophy-based workouts. And yeah, I mean, it's a whole separate topic.
Yeah, yeah.
But buy ingredients, don't buy products. That's what you really want to start thinking.
That's good. That's good advice. Yeah.
Figure out the ingredient. What are you trying? Start with the end in mind. What am I trying to get out of this workout? What's lacking? And most guys if they just drank more water, it would create the same effect as a pre-workout.
Wow. Okay.
A lot of pre-workouts just have a lot of cell volumizers in there, so they're just increasing they're making the cells more anabolic, more full, more hydrated. So, if you just fix your water consumption, you wouldn't have you experience the same thing from a pre-workout still.
Wow.
Caffeine. A lot of guys, you can increase mental alertness by just changing your diet. A lot of guys eat high carbs before they train, which actually increase neurotransmitter production of serotonin, which can cause you to be sleepy, can cause you to be drowsy. So experimenting with removing carbs before your workout and maybe putting them 4 hours before, but not an hour before.
Okay.
Something that you should try, something to experiment with. And you may increase mental focus and alertness and that. So,
yeah, I remember, you had said something that you don't want to consume too much fat before a workout. You were kind of big on that.
Well, that depends. It depends on if you're really hot. Some guys, they take carb drinks during the workout, and they're really, really driving their insulin up high. So there could be argument to minimize fat before a workout. I mean, everything has to be discussed in context and that. But yeah, I find more of a protein, vegetable-based pre-workout meal and having your carbs more like an hour before your workout, and carbohydrate, protein-based meal about 4 hours before your workout is great. I like spreading my carbs evenly throughout the day as opposed to timing them all in one spot.
Sure.
As well, which is another topic. But
okay. Another question that I have is, I see a lot of people spending just hours and hours in the gym. Do you find, is it necessary to spend, all those hours in the gym to build muscle, or what's been your experience in that whole thing?
It's hard to say, man. It's all about a matter of quality. I mean, I've put guys in the bathroom after 7 minutes of quality work. I've had clients who were literally done their workouts. I sent them home. They paid for 1 hour sessions. I sent them home after about 7 minutes because that's all they needed that day. And we took their muscles to failure. We took them to exhaustion. Most guys do not train anywhere. Most guys fail because of mental failure, not because of physical failure. I'd say 95% of guys in the gym don't even get close to true physical failure. And I've been blessed to train with one of the best bodybuilders in the world, Ben Fikowski, who's literally, my sets stop because of mental failure. I can't take it. Physically, because there's been so many times he's made me do 10, 15 more reps when I called it quits, and I would have never done those reps if he wasn't standing there. So
yeah. I had that experience. I was went and worked out at the gym, the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa, and I had one of the trainers take me through a leg workout that was just, it was just the most incredible leg workout I ever had. I just felt, my muscles being stimulated in areas that I never thought possible, and it was all due to having that coach there. He was there to push me and to do the extra reps, and it was just kind of crazy. He's telling me to do, 5, 10, 15 more reps, and I'm thinking, man, how am I going to keep going? But, he was there to push me. And I'll tell you, after I was done with the leg workout, I feel like I couldn't walk for a week. When I sat in his office, he was telling me, okay, you're going to have to go home, take a cold shower, take a couple ibuprofens, and I'll tell you what, man, even after doing all those things, it was just tough. And,
I like what Lee Haney says: stimulate, don't annihilate. So there's certainly a balance, and my thing is all about the minimum effective dose. If you only need 4 sets to take a muscle to failure, why do 12? Why do 16? I often tell people, if you're training longer than an hour, you're making friends. You're not making muscle. So
good.
If you need more than, a general rule of thumb, most of my workouts, my personal workouts or my clients' workouts, will never be longer than 40 to 75 minutes. I think, like I said, if anything longer than an hour, you're probably starting to make friends. But there's certain times where you want to, intentional overreaching is another whole nother topic, which has value for short periods of time where then you recover and super compensate, and it can be done. But for the majority of beginners, the majority of newbies, average trainees, guys who aren't taking extracurricular stuff, you know, training, I would always focus on maximizing quality over quantity, and you only increase quantity if you can maintain the intensity. Mm-hmm. So, and you know, it all comes back. I call them garbage sets, or you know, just from running. You know, I'm all about quality. So, if you finish the job in 7 minutes, why do it for 60 minutes? But there will come a time where you need to increase the amount of time you spend. I don't like saying spend time in the gym. I like saying investing your time in the gym, which implies that every set you're doing is, you know, planned, it's required, and it's something more or needed to do to overextend yourself from your previous workout.
Thanks, Vince, for coming on. It was just a great interview. And remember, guys, just post your comments and any questions that you have below this video. I know Vince has got to run, and we really appreciate it. Take care, Vince.
Thanks for listening, everybody.